Hello and welcome to our daily sketching routine. It is Thursday, September 26th, 2024, and today's topic is posing multiple characters. And I'm going to continue on the same page just so you can see where we're at here. So yesterday it was poses in perspective from imagination, and obviously there's a lot more to it, but I feel like this gives you an idea and gives you something to further explore. So this is some forced perspective or foreshortening. So just kind of going off of this theme, we'll do multiple characters, because I guess this week has been about drawing different poses from imagination, and after a while you can pretty much think it's know that it's going to be from imagination. But let's get started. I'll start a 5-minute timer. So yeah, like I said, this is just to get us started. I mean, there's so much more thought that goes, more things to draw, which is what makes it a lifelong pursuit. I'm reaching the end of this sketchbook here. So it's basically the same thing, but it's a little more complex because you're adding more figures. So just something kind of easy would be, so to speak, would be just going off of this sketch here. So maybe if this were a comic, which I'm kind of going in that direction with my work. So also there's different shots. We'll just stick with not a lot of perspective for now, but it's kind of good to know. Well, I mean, it's the same as drawing the figure. So for example, it would be good to know at least where the ground is, and again, it depends on the shot. But let's say that we go off of this, we can do a gesture, where the character is attacking, thrusting with the sword, and then the other character is also engaging here. So it's good to just kind of get a gesture going, and work out a few different things. Now, so these are thumbnails done in a gestural kind of way. So there's certain principles behind this, which is that that one, they're thumbnails, and that so meaning they're quick. Just to get the idea across, the gesture across real quick. So it's good to kind of, so part of this is the composition, and it may you may actually mix and match some of this. So part of this is because you want to draw from imagination, at least if you're kind of following along with my ideas, my methodology, which isn't mine, but the idea is that learning how to draw from imagination. So what's happening here is that you're wanting to draw from imagination, meaning you're wanting to put yourself and your ideas and like your style will be in here. You can't like manufacture your style. It's not really, at least I don't really believe in that. Like, I don't really want that. So once you kind of have like something going on, and again, you can look up reference later, but for now you're just wanting to see what your imagination can come up with. And then once you kind of have something, like, you can do what I was saying, in the previous videos, where kind of identify where their heads might be of the figures. If it's real tiny, it's fine. I'll start another 5-minute timer. And the idea is that keep it thumbnail size so that you can do it quickly and that you don't get bogged down in the detail. And so you can start to see, like, if you were to draw this and then maybe the next shot, and of course this could just be an illustration by itself, but you can see how it shows action. And so if you see something like you kind of like, you can do a little bit like work out that show me the camera here, make out like work out that pose right there. So again, go back to your basic proportions and just see, like, so a part of this is that I'm not a swordsman. So I'm going to look up reference. However, think about it in terms of like a movie where like the actor isn't a swordsman either, but like they can practice, they can train and like make it more believable. So think about it like that. So I'm gonna not spend too much time on like this battle, although this is basically how you do it. So like I like that came out pretty good, and that was like my first one. So you could just, again, just keep the proportions. So I mean, the trick is, number one, figuring out the composition and the interaction and like the movement. And then the other one is just drawing the figures, which is the same as if you were to draw it individually, which is why we started individually. And just kind of get like the, you see what I'm saying, like the thumbnail down, see? So again, I'm not trying to do like historical like illustrations. I'm doing storytelling. So I take a lot of inspiration from like movies and like how they do things. Like I'm not thinking that it's historical. So that's how you kind of come up with that. For things like this, I mean, obviously just do some studies, like basically like this, but like study off of something and then practice this and just put them, like merge them together so that you just get better at it. So it's kind of like that, and then just, yeah, just, and then add more, like do like all the other stuff that we've been working on. And so you'll see that it works. It's not wrong or anything. So yeah, hopefully that makes some sense. I wanted to do one where it's not like so actiony, like two people fighting here. So let's go over here. Same idea, like we'll stick with kind of like two, and then I'll do like a little bit more. So same idea, like think about it in terms of the gesture of the pose and the composition of the pose. So we'll zoom in a little bit and have like, if two people are at a table. So again, proportion is important so that, that's 5 minutes. Like you can fit your sketch wherever you want on this page. So you can establish like just the two figures here. They could be sitting at a table. Same thing, just use your stick figures. I mean, that one's pretty simple, but then also, so just kind of sticking with like the theme of like my fantasy book series here, like you could have like a royal court, and we'll throw in like a little bit of perspective. So what I mean is sometimes you can build like the interaction from like the perspective. So if I have kind of like this to show like the ground, and then I want figures to be like establish the height. So it's going to go with the perspective. Like that. Let's just say they're the same height. And so yeah, just build the figure like normal, like all the figure drawing stuff. That's why it's so important to work on thumbnails, work on basic drawing, basic figure drawing. This one could be like the back towards the camera. Kind of like this, where and then put in like another, same thing, keep the perspective here, and obviously depending on the height, we're just making them the same height. But again, this would be considered thumbnailing, and again, work on the proportion. See, these are all things that makes your picture better. Like, it doesn't matter like what style you use. Stuff like lighting comes later. lighting is pretty easy. Once you have a good drawing, it's kind of fun to just render it. Just some thoughts. Also, you could do gestures for just to get ideas going. So you can have like a composition in mind and just sort of do this where like you can actually come up with like an picture. So have fun with thumbnails. They're your best friend because it's a mixture of sketching and doodling and imagining. See, and then once you kind of get a flow going, you can like start to, and this is where your ideas are going to come from. You can start to like tell a story. So yeah, I'll keep this one kind of short. I mean, it's still 15 minutes. Sometimes, I mean, it's really like the concepts that are important, and then just play around with it. So that's another 5 minutes. Yeah, before I sign off, I just want to thank you for joining me today and for supporting the channel. And it's not really just about like my work, obviously it is, but also it's also about I guess connecting and communicating and keeping art alive, keeping drawing and sketching alive. So with that said, until next time, keep on sketching.